Hi guys, Bart Robley here. Welcome to the BartCave, and I want to give you guys a quick video lesson today that is actually going to turn into, I'm pretty sure the way I have it planned out right now, about 4 video lessons. They're going to be real short, so I don't throw too much information at young drummers out there. I get a lot of questions and a lot of people asking me about hand technique and Moeller technique, and so what I want to do is I want to kind of give you, how I understand it and how it works for me. What Moeller is it's to me is it's a study in efficiency, how to efficiently play the drum and how to efficiently draw sound out of the drum rather than really whacking it and trying to get volume out of it. How do we make the drum sound good, make it sound like an instrument? And again, how do we do that efficiently? How do we move around the kit and the drum set efficiently? So we're going to start today on the practice pad, and I'm just going to show you a real quick pattern and talk about specifically 2 motions or 2 of the notes that we will get when we are studying Moeller. And then I'm going to break it down again over 3 more lessons, not only how to apply what I'm going to show you today to the drum set, but how to take this same pattern, use different stickings, and get 2 different kinds of accents. So it should be kind of fun and hopefully educational as well. So here we go. So Moeller is, again, it's a study in efficiency, right? How do I play the drums efficiently and not hurt my hands, not hurt myself, and have a good technique so that I'm not just muscling the drum all the time. The first notes that we're really going to talk about today are whip accents, which look like this. You can see that I'm whipping the stick into the drum. And then prep notes. Now what a prep note is just that, when I'm preparing to play my whip. I got a note by mistake, by accident. When I pick the stick up, I accidentally hit the drum. That's kind of the way I think about it. It's just called a prep note. And again, when I pick the stick up to play the drum, the stick touches the drum. Right? So that's all it is. Now, to put this together into kind of a musical thought or a musical pattern, I'm going to be thinking 16th notes in this case. And we're just going to play, some 16th notes hand to hand, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. I'm going to put some accents on in some of these notes. So what my accent pattern is going to be 1 and and 3 and So the count 1, the beat of 1, count 3, and the beat of 3. So that's going to look and sound like this. Okay? Now, I'm a firm believer in always practicing with a metronome to develop your time. So, I turn on my metronome now. Before I start playing, I don't want to chase the metronome. I never want to try to catch it or get on ahead of it and lay back on it. I always want to just internalize it. So I start with that by tapping my left foot and feeling the pulse. So now my pulse is going to be taka 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 against that click, or against that pulse. My subdivision will be that. So it'll sound like this. Right? So then, and when I'm talking about the metronome, what I tell all my students is I think about the metronome or the pulse. It kind of has me and it's guiding me. If I'm behind it and I'm playing behind the beat, it's like I'm pushing it, and it just feels bad, and it's like the click is pulling you. And if I would strap to my back and I'm pulling the click, now it creates an uncomfortable energy, and I'm way ahead of the beat, and it just doesn't feel right. So I internalize the pulse first of all and feel it, and then I put my accent or my accented subdivision of 16th notes around that pulse. Now, again, the accents are 1 and 3 and . And what I do to get those accents is I whip the stick. Okay, when I say whip the stick, I just whip the stick. I whip it into the drum. Right? We've all been to the beach or to the pool, taken a towel, rolled it up, hit our buddy on the back of the leg. Same thing, same motion, except for instead of being that way, it's overhand. Now, when I get ready to do that whip, that's where those prep strokes come in. when I pick the stick up, the stick accidentally, or, you know, it's a prep stroke, it accidentally touches the drum, right? Now, the way that I teach this and I think about it is I really think about, I'm a marionette, right? One of the puppets with the strings, right? And that string gets pulled. That's where the prep note comes in, and I get prepared to do my whip. Then I whip the stick into the drum. So, again, playing the pattern with the metronome. So there's my pattern. Now, some people teach it to think about the note before the note, that prep note. And what the prep notes are in this case, the notes that are going to be your prep notes are going to be, for the left hand, they're going to be the E beats of 1 and 3. And for the right hand, they will be the 8th note or the AND beat of 2 and 4. The prep note is always the note before the note. So when I'm playing, and when the first note, the first accident note, I start in position because, you know, I'm the first note is 1, and I can't really play a prep note for that. So I start in position, but I'm thinking about the note before the note. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Now, I can do that for a little while for the sake of demonstration here, but if I think about the prep note too much, you know, it really throws me under the bus. So I don't think about the prep note as much as I think about that marionette motion. That works for me. For you, it might work okay to think about the prep note. It might, you know, it might work okay to think about the E beats and the 8th note. But for me, it just, you know, no bueno, it doesn't work. So I think about that, the marionette motion. So anyway, that's kind of like a really good pattern to practice, just to kind of get used to that motion. I tell all of my students, over-exaggerate it, right? When you first start doing this, you know, really over-exaggerate the preps and really over-exaggerate the whips, right? So you're really getting used to it. First, you might kind of feel silly, but it really does. It works. It works for me and works for all my students. And just kind of get used to that. Now, the last thing, but to me really the most important thing, I talked about the click a second ago, make sure that when you're playing with the click that your left foot is going and that you're internalizing that click. We're going to apply these patterns to the drum set in the next lesson as like a drum fill idea, or, you know, on the cymbals or on the toms or what have you. And we're also going to incorporate keeping that quarter note pulse in the hi-hat. That's the most important thing, because the time is everything. The time is what helps you create the feel. Your left foot, at first, when you first start doing this, your left foot's going to want to go 1 and up, 2 and 3 and up. It's going to want to follow the accent pattern. So you just have to get used to having that quarter note going, keeping the pulse going solid, and 1 and up, 2 and 3 and up, 1 and up, 2 and 3 and up. I really think about that pulse and just keep that going solid. Don't think about putting your left foot into what your hands are doing. Don't think, okay, here's my hand pattern, I'm playing it, I'm going to get my left foot going with it. Think about getting that pulse going, just like we talked about with the metronome, internalizing it and working with it. Get your left foot going, internalize that pulse, and follow your left foot. 1, up, 3, up, 3, up. So there you go. That's a good jumping off point and a good starting point for getting your Moeller whips and your Moeller prep strokes, or your note by default, as I call it. That's my term, not somebody else's. But anyway, that works for me, and it works for a lot of my students. So practice that. I will see you guys in a lesson in just a couple of days, and we're going to take that pattern right there, and we're going to apply it to the drum set. If you have any questions, leave them below, or send me a message through my website, bartrobley.com, or send me a message through Facebook, find me on Facebook, or Twitter, or Instagram, or send up a smoke signal, and I'll get back to you. So anyway, have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next lesson.